Welcome to the Longbox Paradox, episode 47, and this week I've got some actual new number ones to go over, two from DC's Black Label, and one from Marvel. So going to start out right away with one I've been waiting for a while since it was announced. Big fan of Joe Hill and especially his Lock and Key series. DC gave him his own Black Label imprint called Hill House, and the first offering is Basketful of Heads, and what better week for it to come out than Halloween week? One thing I will say straight out, the Joshua Middleton B variant cover is incredible. It's the one, in my opinion, to buy. So a little late getting to my reviews this week. Life happened in Halloween. So the book starts out with a character in a raincoat walking down a bridge, and in this basket there is this discussion going on, and someone stops and asks, saying it's a little bit too early to be out in this weather. What do you got there in the basket? And then we cut to a flashback. Weird little references in the book, like Brody Island, and it's in Maine, and with it being a beach town and being a holiday for the summer, kind of makes you think of Jaws a little bit. And we have a young cop and his girlfriend, and she's sitting on the bridge just where the character in the future was, and they're lovers, and we get a little bit into what's going on with the town. There's also an interesting another homage, but there's Shawshank Prison. We have a bus for some inmates escaped, 4 of them, so the town's on alert. And weirdly, this issue does not set up much. It's basically letting us get into the heads of our young protagonists. It's a very rich town, and it does at one point introduce us to the axe, which is of Norse descent. Doesn't say much other than that. Again, this issue really doesn't do anything. It ends on a cliffhanger, though. The cliffhanger showing the inmates who had escaped breaking into the house where our protagonists are. I was hoping for a little bit more out of this. I wanted to get. This is going to explain what the hell the whole basket full of heads means and why there's a basket that was talking. I'm going to give this a 7. The dialogue and everything else in it was pretty good. It did really have a bit of a retro 80s feel. Little homages to, past horror movies here and there. Again, I wanted a little bit more. For a Black Label issue, it went fairly damn quick. The art is adequate. The artist is... let me look real fast. Artist is Leomacs, and it has Dave Stewart working on the colors. Honestly, this didn't reveal anything. It just basically has a long introduction to the main character and his girlfriend. Also that, she's a psychology major but wants to be a social worker. It's a solid 6. It really is. I just wish something else happened in it. Definitely going to pick up again, though, because I really kind of want to see what the whole mystery of this is. And the release schedule for the rest of the Hill House titles. We have the Dollhouse Family coming the week after next. Basketful of Heads #2. And then eventually in January we get to Daphne Byrne. And in December, the Lolo Woods. Check it out. See for yourself. Again, if you like horror, um, if you're kind of into a little bit of a felt like a not Twin Peaks vibe, but kind of a weird town vibe. I feel like it's worth checking out. We're gonna go from there to the book from Marvel that it was definite pickup for me, and that was Fantastic Four Grand Design. We've already had the X-Men Grand Design series by Ed Piskor. This time it's Tom Scioli, who my main memory of him was he was doing, I think, Transformers G.I. Joe at one point, and I think he was doing GoBots recently. Him and Ed Piskor came up at the same time. Ed I learned of basically from Hip Hop Family Tree, which if you haven't read, it's a fantastic series. Um, and I think him and Tom have a podcast that they do together. Um, this basically was like X-Men Grand Design, and also kind of in that whole Marvel Saga way, which if you were from the 80s collecting like I was, Marvel Saga basically told the history of the Marvel Universe up until from the very beginning to current. Um, this book, it's basically takes you all the way to the coming of Galactus. Um, it also tells like the history of some of the characters in the Fantastic Four universe. Like we have Galactus. Basically opens the book with him. Then it has the Celestials coming to Earth and evolving man and dinosaurs, and the Kree and the starting of the Inhumans. Um, Tillin, all kinds of stuff. The Black Panther, how the meteorite fell to Earth. The coming of the Submariner, Claw, Doctor Doom. It's got a little bit of everything. It expands a little bit more on the FF origin, which I thought was good. Adds a little twist here and there. Uh, Incredibly long book. Like I for 48 pages, it was packed pretty damn full. A lot going on, a lot of panels, a lot of panels. Um, Great job of introducing the Fantastic Four to new readers if they pick it up. Like it's chock full, gonna give them a little bit of everything. I'm gonna give this a solid 8. Scioli does a great job of almost doing like a Sunday newspaper cartoon. The way the panels are laid out, or excuse me, not cartoons, Sunday comics. The way they're laid out and how they just give you little snippets and just keeps moving. And the pacing on this is fucking phenomenal. Uh, just a damn good book, damn design, great design, and very much dovetails right off of the X-Men Grand Design. And I can't wait to get more of this. Again, solid 8 for me. Love it. I even love the way they describe the Doctor Doom origin parts. Uh, Gives you a little bit more insight to the Watcher too. The Watcher is a pretty big part of this book. Um, Ben Grimm, of course, that he's fleshed out a little bit more than he would have than I thought he was during the Kirby stuff, and maybe that's just me projecting a little bit. Submariner also gets a great amount of play in this. And a couple other goofy characters get introduced. I really enjoyed this. Great read, definitely buy. And gonna go to the other DC Black Label book that I had the honor of reading, and it was interesting. The the cover alone makes you think of Lord of the Rings, like this Sauron type character on the cover, and by the fact that it's called the Fellspire Chronicles, and they refer to their group as the Fellowship. It's written and created by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Riccardo Federici. I have seen Federici's art on a bunch of variants for DC recently. The art is actually pretty damn good. Right away, this book is going to invoke Lord of the Rings. There's no escaping it. It has that vibe. It has that feel. Even the way they describe some of the places. And then at certain times, it kind of feels like the Stars Spartacus series. Some of the creature designs in here are great. They call it like the plague of flowers, a pestilence that turned the living into profanities of vine, rot, ash, and defiled flesh. It's the way they describe the creatures in this. And this fellowship, they called themselves the God Slayers, and they were all the different races. And of course, the one that was human was the one who was charged with killing the God of Void, and he becomes king. His name is Tyr, the God Slayer, and this is where we go into the whole Spartacus thing, where they are having a tournament, and it's reliving the God Slayer Tyr's career basically, and shows how he killed the God of the Void. The most interesting thing is one of the masks here that the Guardians is wearing, or not Guardians, but the Gladiators is wearing, looks just like one of the Dark Riders from Lord of the Rings. Uh, and the one of the gladiators, he takes his mask off, and the king starts to realize who he is, and he gets up and leaves, and starts hearing these words from the God of the Void, who said, "Your fellows will be the rulers of Cananon, exalted above all others, and even they will kneel before you until the day you see your sins made flesh, their true crown hidden by a false one of gold." And his eyes start turning black, and the kingdom, it starts to fall apart by night, where people are being attacked by the same things we saw in the beginning. And the gladiator, who may or may not be the son of Tyr, is helping to kind of fight back what is going on. Some of the other god slayers have shown up into the city. They're looking for the queen, and we see that Tyr has now become one of the corrupted, and it ends there. This is a very fast moving book. Federici's art is fantastic. It's great sword and sorcery. Uh, Writing at times I kind of felt was not 100% the best. The way it was paced, um, it definitely felt homage to Tolkien a little bit. Again, I love the creature design in here, the way the infected, the corrupted, and how they're explained and what they are kind of composed of. And the last panel, I mean, they show the king with these tendrils going through some of the soldiers, and it's coming out of him, and his face is kind of coming away from him. Um, Definitely want to read more of this. Strong 7 for me, and I feel like it could only be a little bit better. Um, Again, it was the first issue. There's bound to be a little bit more coming, so I expect by issue 2 it to move a little faster, pacing will be a little bit better, and really just get going into what the story is going to be. Um, Not a bad book. Again, there's little things here and there I thought could be a little bit better, but I mean, it's basically, apples and oranges. Um, one other thing I want to talk about before I sign off, the great news, especially if you were a fan of Nailbiter, Mike Henderson and Adam Gazowski both posted on Instagram a picture, and it said he's coming back, and it is Nailbiter is another series coming back, and we get to see what happened to Edward, and this it showed a hand with these giant clawed nails. Can't wait. I'm a huge nail biter fan. And one of the books that made me fall in love with Joshua Williamson's writing, and just a fantastic horror book in general with that Twin Peaks vibe. I can't say enough. I'm excited. My girlfriend's excited about it. I got her reading it. It's fantastic. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. Let me know what you're reading, what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and thank you for taking the time watching. Bye bye.